What is up YouTube and welcome to the Red Rose build. Today we're going to be seeing how you can actually build the Red Rose in Rust. We're going to begin with the traditional 6 triangle setup. Now, if you're on the vanilla server, this is really how you want to get started. You don't want to have the massive base right off the bat, mostly because you're not going to be able to afford it. So start with a simple setup of 6 triangles and have a shooting floor along with just the honeycombs on the side. And as you go, you'll be able to evaluate into a more traditional actual build. Now let's assume that you already built the 6 triangle setup along with some honeycombs. This is really how you build it from scratch. I mean 6 triangles along with 6 squares, and then you go from there. Once you finish honeycombing the first 6 triangles with 6 squares, you want to add on additional triangles to each individual squares. At this point, looking for above, it looks like a turtle with its shell, its head and tail, and ultimately really its little legs. The real purpose of this build is really to create confusion. You want to have 6 individual doors leading to the actual base, but only one of them is the actual door. Now, if you started with the traditional 6 triangle build and already have a second and third floor, you might just consider ultimately just extending the base as it goes and adding those additional triangle as it goes to add on to the additional just confusion in a sense. Now, most people will know that the core is the center, which is why this is a setup that you can adapt down the road and ultimately move your actual core, but at the end of the day, the center really is the actual core to the base. What I'm doing here is ultimately creating a sense of confusion. As you guys can see, there's 6 different doors leading to the base, but only one of them actually work. Now, if you are in the vanilla server and are planning to build a 2x1 or any other base temporarily in order for you to save up for this base, the very simple way to do it is really just to start with all 6 triangles and then expand the actual sides and build another 6 triangles and create one of those doors to be the main door. You can start with 2 separate triangle setup and really just extend the additional triangles, the other 5 triangles as you go. So the real goal is you're going to be just 1 floor instead of being 2 or 3 floors ahead of time. Once you completed all 6 hexagons for the actual build and you have a center core which is really the shell of the actual shape, on the first floor you really want to have an actual square in between each hexagon. The reason why is because you will see it a little bit later on, this is where the outer turrets will be going to. Now for the second floor you have a couple options. The first one is to really just honeycomb each hexagon and really make it so that even if somebody decides to hit your second floor, they're just going to have to go through layer after layer after layers. Now this is very costly. As you guys can already see, it's about 32,000 metal, or in most cases it's going to be 8,000 wood just to build to this point. So really you have to make sure that you build however you are able to afford. So if you do decide to blockade each hexagon specifically and not utilize that space, make sure you use it in a sense that makes sense to you. Now what I do like to do is, obviously, if the entrance to the second floor is on the opposite side, I like to put the actual entrance for the third floor in the complete opposite hexagon. The reason why is to create confusion and really make it a very costly raid. Now the interior design for the second floor is very much up to you, whether or not you want to use the hexagons or whether or not you want to honeycomb everything and really use the core as your main station. Now what I do in this specific thing is I create a bunker setup, which is pretty much a bunker in the first 6 triangle, which is the original triangle for the base, and then just add additional auto turrets on the interior of the base. Now this is how it looked after this actual second floor. Now you could add an additional floor and be done after that, but for this specific build you want to do a total of 4 floors, which makes this build extremely expensive to a total of 80,000 actual metal in order for you to build this if you have the entire second floor with the actual honeycomb. The reason for this build being 4 floor is due to the actual shooting floor. I'm going to be doing the breakdown on how to do the shooting floor here in a second. This is where it starts to look like a rose from above. Now the 80,000 cost of metal is only for the full build of this actual build. It is not for the maintenance cost. The maintenance cost of this full build is roughly about 28,000 a daily metal, along with anywhere between 100 to 300 heavy metal, depending on what type of doors you decide to put on and what type of heavy metal you decide to put on your actual core. Now you guys are seeing that I'm only placing windows only in the first 3 triangles. The reason why is because you will have a peek down here on the far left triangles. Now, as you guys can see, this is an error that a lot of us might or may not make early on, which is you put the actual down ladder way too close to the far left hand side, meaning that now you're no longer able to put a triangle roof. So in order for you to be ensure that you are able to put a triangle roof so that you have an opening to look down, you have to ensure that the ladder is at the actual center of the hexagon or at the beginning of the first initial hexagon. This is the first layer to the petals of the rose. Now this is the first initial layer that will actually make you look like a rose from above. Now these are the final touches for the shooting floor and just the overall roof. So make sure you pay attention to every single little detail because otherwise the rose will not look the same. Put on the third and final layer of the rose petals, you want to ensure to put triangles upon the triangles. Now this will be very particular because it will also mean that there is a possibility for people to get through on the side of the actual triangles. But the only way for them to do that would be if they, crash their heli against the actual walls of the pedals. But as many of us know, you can always place the actual electrical lights or the alarm lights on the actual pedals to prevent anybody from being able to reach and go inside those little areas. Now, as you guys can see, I did not place an anti-air missile system on the actual roof. Now, you are able to do so. There is still some rectangles that you can place the anti-air system on, but I would recommend for you to just place it against the actual ground, where you'll be able to have the compound area surrounded along with the actual anti-air missile system. That allows for you to have a more open floor and really just kind of have that rose look in general. As you guys can see, this is the final look onto the actual compound of the Red Rose setup. Now, as you guys can see, the total cost for this actual build is roughly about 73,860 metal. Now, this is with the secondary floor being mostly honeycombed. So if you choose not to honeycomb the second floor and really just want to use the space, it's probably going to cost you somewhere around 50,000 metal. The maintenance on this is anywhere between 20,000 to 30,000 metal daily. So if you are choosing to do it in the full metal set, this is how much it will cost. Otherwise, just convert that over to the actual stone cost. When it comes down to the actual raid, this is a very, very costly raid, mostly because there's 6 possibility for entrances, and really, unless they hit the center rectangles, it's very difficult because they're still gonna have to go through about 2 layers worth of honeycombs. So really, just focus on what's essential and really what's cost affordably for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more. I will be doing more videos related to actual build for Rust. So if you are interested in more specific builds or custom build for Rust, let me know in the comment section and I will make sure to get one for you. If you run into any sort of issue with this build particularly, let me know and I will make sure to help you out as much as possible. The cost effectiveness of this build is mostly for a team setup. If you decide to do this on an individual setup, I would recommend servers that are at least 3x's or even 5 to 10x's, and you'll be able to build this in really no time. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time and have a wonderful day.